I'm gonna just be honest with you, Your Honor. I hit him with a gun.
This is the kind of sentencing where the judge has two very different pictures in front of him. On one side, an 18-year-old with a strong work history, no juvenile record, and a plan to become a union welder. On the other side, a serious apartment argument where he hit a man with a gun and now faces up to 12 years in prison. Watch how Judge O'Donnell talks through the risks of giving the young man a chance. My name is Dan. This is the Courtroom Files, and I think Ellie's going to watch along with us.
Seated. Enough.
Thank you, Your Honor. We are here on the matter of the State of Ohio versus Kanan McLean, case number 25 CR 001383. The defendant is present in open court with their attorney, Tim Kocharski. We are set today for a sentencing hearing. We were previously here when the defendant pled guilty to one count of attempted aggravated robbery, a felony of the second degree, and one count of felonious assault, a felony of the second degree. Since then, a pre-sentence report has been completed. The defendant has 32 days of jail time credit.
All right, Mr. Kaharski.
Thank you, Your Honor. Kanan McLean is 18 years old, Your Honor. When this offense started, he was 17. And I asked the court to take into consideration that I think the science bears out that a young adult's brain is not fully formed until
Especially if they're smoking pot.
I would agree, Your Honor. I don't think that helps. And Kanan is apologetic for that, and he understands that. And so, as we stand in here in adult court, this case originated in juvenile court. I believe it should have stayed there, but it's over here. But I asked the court to take that into consideration in light of the fact, and then place upon that who Kanan McLean is, and not simply judge him for what happened during probably about a 4-minute incident, but look at the entire body of who Kanan McLean is. He's a young man, but I think you can tell quite a bit about this young man. He started working at TJ's on the Avenue in Mentor when he was 13 years old. His grandfather worked there. His grandfather got him into that position. He worked there for a number of years. After that, he then went on to work at La Malfa. He was a dishwasher there as well. He was also set up. He was a server. He did everything that he needed to do. Everything that his boss asked him to do, he did. After that, he worked for Walmart. Then he got more. It was a higher pay at Amazon. And then he went and was working at Red Lobster as a dishwasher currently. Red Lobster has indicated that they will take Kanan back if he was released back into the community. That's the type of worker he is. But, Your Honor, when you look at all of the positions that he had, all the responsibility he's had no juvenile adjudications, not one. And so I think that if this was someone that needs to be removed from society, that there would be some evidence of that in his juvenile record. But that's not what it is. He doesn't have any of that. And I think that speaks volumes as to who Kanan McLean is, Your Honor. I think he is an individual who knows how to comply and comport himself to the requirements of society. Was there a segment of time where he didn't? Yes. And that's why we're here. I recognize that he pled to an F2, that there's a presumption of prison on this case, Your Honor. But I think that we can rebut the presumption when you look at under 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. When you look at the more serious factors, I don't believe that there's a single more serious factor applicable to Kanan. I think the less serious factors would outweigh and overwhelm the more serious factors. I would submit that while it's not a complete analysis and it's not analogous, but I do think that with the facts of what happened in this particular instance, there were 3 juveniles and 1 adult at this apartment. The adult was trying to hook up with, and I'm not saying anything that he didn't say himself, that he thought he was, and I think it's actually in the PSI too, that he thought he was coming over to have sex with the juvenile. And when that didn't happen, he got upset, and I know that that's what he testified to at the probable cause hearing, that he got upset and he was angry. Kanan is best friends.
Were you at the probable cause hearing?
I did. I conducted.
So this is a testimony of Noah?
Correct, Your
You're
Honor.
talking about, okay, go ahead.
So Noah had indicated, and I think that Mr. Knopf will correct me if I'm wrong or if I misstate the evidence, but the victim stated that, in fact, he thought he was going to get something over there, that he was upset when, in fact, Michaela did not reciprocate or and get involved in sexual conduct with each other. He became upset. He became a little bit argumentative. Michaela then went to Mr. McCain and had said something to the effect of, this is what he's doing. And it happened a couple of times. And then everyone said to this Noah individual, you have to leave, you have to leave. And then at that point, Your Honor, that's when Mr. McClain regrets what he did. I think that if he had to do it all over again, he would have just made sure, escorted him out, and then closed the door, locked the door, make sure he couldn't. But there were words exchanged between the two individuals. Mr. McClain struck him, hit him, and then realized what he did. This Noah individual got in a car. He called 911. Mr. McClain then left. He called some friends, and they picked him up. And so when you look at all of this, I bring this up because I think the less serious factors apply, because I think there were grounds that were somewhat provoking to Mr. McClain, and I think there was some evidence that would mitigate. This is not an incident where he took a gun out and shot him, or he just said, hey, look, I'm just going to beat you up. There were factors and facts preceding what happened. So I think the less serious factors outweigh the more serious factors, because there aren't any more serious. When we get into recidivism factors, Your Honor, I don't think there's any recidivism factors, because Mr. McClain has never been involved in any criminal activity. This literally is his first foray into the criminal justice system. I recognize it's kind of a big step into the criminal justice system, but it's the first step. He's never had anything else, Your Honor. So he has no juvenile adjudications. He's led a law-abiding life for a significant number of years. And so I think the less recidivism, or the less likely to recidivate, outweigh the more likely for recidivism. And so I think that when you look at that, I think that overcomes the presumption that he goes to prison, Your Honor. I think the entire body of work of whom Kanan McClain is, and I think you can see in the courtroom behind me, he has an incredibly supportive family that will be there for him, that will help him to do whatever he needs to do. I've talked to Kanan about why his bond got revoked, and he recognizes that he needs to use other avenues to deal with his stress and to deal with what he was dealing with. He's vowed that he will, if given the chance and given the opportunity to remain out in the community, that he will abstain from any use of alcohol and or drugs of abuse, Your Honor. And so I think that because he is a young individual, that the court can give him an opportunity to prove to himself, to the court, to his family, and the community that he is a responsible individual and he would be worthy of a community control sanction. He spent 32 days in jail already. I've talked to Kanan. He's indicated that this time that he's spent in jail have been the worst 29 days. When I talked to him, he thought it was 29 days. The worst 29 days that he's ever had, Your Honor. And so he vows to not do that again. And he's apologetic. And if Mr. Falkowski was here, or Fulchinski was here, he would certainly apologize to him. He regrets what he did. But again, as I said, I think you have to judge a book by the entire book, not just one paragraph or one sentence in the book. I realize that that's why we're here, but I think that when you look at the totality of who Kanan McClain is, that when you look at the protect the public, to punish the offender, he has been punished with the minimum sanctions required to achieve those. I think that that can be achieved through a community control sanction. Put him on intensive supervised probation, make the leash extremely short. I think that Mr. McLean will be the one individual or one of the individuals that actually is why that there is a community control sanction, because they can learn, they won't be back here, and he will continue to be a productive member of society, Your Honor. He's 18 years old. I've had clients that are 40 that don't have the work ethic and the work history that Mr. McLean has at 18 years old. And so I think by sending him to prison, that doesn't help the community at all. Mr. McLean is willing to work. He's willing to support himself. He has an apartment with his girlfriend in Euclid that he can go to. And so I think that by sending him to prison just because it's a felony of the second degree would not help the community and would unnecessarily punish Mr. McLean. So for all of those reasons, I'd ask the court to grant him a community control sanction. As I said, put him on intensive supervised probation. He recognizes if he screws up, he does something, then he's back here and the court can do whatever it wants to him. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Why have these been the worst 29 days of your life?
I had to sit out. I had to. Let me stand running. I've been locked up, incarcerated, so I've been away from my family, away from my girlfriend, my little brothers, and I just been having to think of what I did, and I regret that, Your Honor. I'm trying to be better in my life. If you just give me one chance to show you that I can, then I will be thankful, Your Honor. I will be thankful.
Okay, so how long you been smoking pot?
About 2 years, a year.
Why?
Really just, it just helped my stress. Really, I just following friends.
So when you're stressed and you smoke, you get high, right? And the high wears off, right? Is your stress gone then?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, so it doesn't work.
Yes.
If not for this case, you'd probably still be smoking pot, right?
No.
Yeah, you would. I mean, the only reason you stopped is because you got caught and you're in jail, right? That's the only reason you're in jail right now is because your bond was revoked because you weren't allowed to do any drugs or alcohol and you got caught. So my guess is you did it up until you got caught, so you'd keep doing it if you hadn't gotten caught. And that's the logical I draw. So what happened in the apartment?
So I was there, with Michaela and Samina, and they brought Noah in there, and me and Samina, we was in the living room, and Michaela and Noah, they were in the room, and they got to arguing in there about how, he was there to have sex with her, and she said she was on her period, and he was like, it was basically a waste of my time, and they were just going back and forth. And me and him, we got to arguing because Michaela said, like, you're not gonna stand up for me or anything. So me and him got to arguing. And I hit him.
Where were you when you hit him?
Living room.
Right. It wasn't out in the hallway?
No.
Or would you?
It led out to the hallway, but it was in the living room at first.
How did you hit him? What did you hit him with?
I'm gonna just be honest with you, Your Honor. I hit him with a gun.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
What were you doing with a gun?
Just trying to be cool, I guess.
Okay. How'd that work out?
Bad.
Why did you hit him with a gun instead of your fist?
I wasn't thinking. It was a dumb decision, Your Honor.
Okay. How many times you hit him?
Only like 3-4 times, Your Honor.
Right. Whose apartment was this?
Michaela's mother's apartment. But her mother wasn't there though. So
Right.
it was just us four.
I presume she wasn't there, or else, at the very least, Noah wouldn't have been there. So what injuries did Noah have?
I really don't know.
Right. So Mr. Kaharski went to great lengths to talk about who you are. Why don't you tell me who you are?
You know, I'm Kanan. You know, I'm trying to be better in my life. I'm an upstanding citizen. You know, I'm a family person. Come from a good family. I don't have to do anything like rob. I won't have to do none of that. You know, I'm a good person. You know, I'm a working man. I try my best to just do right in life. And that was a dumb decision that I made.
Well, what about your family?
I mean, they're a good family, you know, they support me.
Who? Who primarily supports you?
My mother, my father.
What about your mother? Tell me about your mother.
My mother, she's a great person, you know, she works, has her own cleaning company with my father. You know, they support me whenever I need it. You know, they just try to do the best in their life as well.
So what did this happened? Is this January 3rd of 25?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
A year and a half ago. When was this filed in juvenile court? Do you know?
I don't know the date, Your Honor.
Have you been on this since the start, Tim?
I have, Your Honor. Well, I do know it was filed like right after you became 18, right? It was filed like the day right before, the day after he turned 18 years old, Your Honor.
So it was filed in August?
I have the complaint.
August 13th is his birthday.
Yes.
Any idea why this was filed 8 months after it happened? I'm just trying to get a sense of why we're a year and a half out. We're sitting here.
I took over the case once it was bound, well, once we decided to bind it over,
Right.
so I really can't say. I don't know what exactly took so long, but
When was the bind over hearing?
August. It was
August.
correct.
Okay. A year after it was filed, or no?
No.
What?
It was filed. We had to bind over.
So this thing was filed in August of 26?
No, we're not at August 26th.
I'm sorry, August of 25.
Correct.
Okay.
And we had the bind over hearing. We had the probable cause hearing shortly after that in the fall.
And
I
then
would say.
when was the bind over entry filed?
October, Ms.
Okay.
McLean said.
All right. So this happened a year and a half ago, nearly a year and a half ago. So how has your behavior changed since this happened?
I've been just going to work. I graduated.
Well, you were always going to work, right? You were going, Mr. Kaharski tells me you've been going to work since you were 13.
Well, I've graduated. You know, I've just really been at home, at work, at school.
How come you've never been in trouble before this?
I just, you know, I really just was, I always was working really. So, you know,
Okay.
half of my time, most of my time was at work. And then I would just go home.
Okay. You have characterized this whole thing as a dumb decision on your part, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, why all of a sudden did you make a dumb decision?
I was really just mad at the time. Just
Okay, you've been mad
at
before
the
in your
world.
life, haven't you? You've been mad at people before?
Yes,
How
Your
how come you've never done this before when you've gotten mad at somebody? Before, on January 3rd, when this happened, sometime in the morning, when this happened, when is, in advance of that, when is the last time you had smoked any pot?
I would say like a week before.
All right, so the substance history, as reported by you to Miss Henley, is that you first used marijuana on your 15th birthday, but did not use it regularly until you were 17, and that you would smoke it every 2 to 3 days. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, but you didn't use it for an entire week before this, or did you use it probably likely 2 or 3 days before this at the least?
Likely 2 or 3 days.
I mean, don't try to short shrift anything here, okay? Now ain't the time to do that, okay? So what effect, so when you're 17, which is in August of 24, 4 months before this happened, 5 months before this happened, you start smoking pot every couple of days.
That's correct, Your Honor.
See any correlation between your behavior and your prolonged use of pot? Is there any connection there?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kaharski started out 25 minutes ago saying that your brain hadn't fully developed yet at the time of this offense, and I interjected and said, especially when you smoke pot.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there any correlation between you acting completely irrationally and your use of pot?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, don't give me the answer you think I want to hear, okay?
No,
Clearly, there's a lot of people that think that marijuana is no big deal. And it's legal now in Ohio, so what's the big deal? And that's complete bullshit, okay? You can see it. What other explanation do you have for your irrational behavior on hitting him with the butt of a gun in January of 25? What other explanation is there? You're not dumb. You're not lazy. You haven't spent the last 4 or 5 years taking the easy way out of things. What other explanation could there be?
The real reason I would say is my friend, he had passed away at the time, so I really was just mad, like, at everything.
What'd your friend pass away from?
He was at a concert. It had nothing to do with him. It was a shooting going on. Some people was arguing outside the concert, and he had got hit.
Okay.
But it didn't have anything to do with him.
Okay.
So I really was just
When
mad.
did that happen in relation to when this happened?
This happened when I was right when I turned 17.
Okay. About the time you started smoking pot every couple of days? Okay. So Mr. Kaharski tells me that your employer is willing to take you back. What do you do there?
I do dishwashing and prep work. I'm a prep cook.
What's a prep cook do? Explain that to me.
Like I prep all the food that the cooks actually cook. Like I prepare it. Like all the food that they cook there.
Okay. So if you don't do your job correctly, there's going to be lousy food cooked by the cook, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. What is it you ultimately want to do? Because you're 18, right?
Yes.
What do you want to be doing when you're 25?
I want to get into the union when I get out. They got like a train. They train you for free.
Okay,
You go to school.
Doing what type of work? There's all kinds of work, ranging from masons to electricians to plumber. What kind of work interests you?
Really, I want to get into welding.
Okay. Why?
Good money. I really don't know too much about it, but I just wanted to try something new. I've been doing like a lot of cooking jobs and working in stores.
See that building over there? You know what that is?
No,
That's the new jail and sheriff's department. It's going to replace the old jail. So there's welders working over there that if they don't properly perform their job, like you having to properly perform your job, then the end result is the place will probably crumble. Now, what's the chance that the welder over there, before he lights that flame and puts it to steel, what's the chance that if he's high, he's going to be doing his job correctly? No, it's not very good, is it? Okay. So you seem to think that, I presume the last time you used pot was, you say, a couple days before your plea hearing, which is why you tested positive when you went over. And so what kind of withdrawals have you had since then?
None.
None. Why not?
You mean withdrawals like
From marijuana?
being sick without?
Yeah.
I haven't had
What
none.
kind of cravings have you had for it?
None really.
Okay. So there's no reason you can't completely stop?
There's no reason why I can't completely stop. And
Unless you don't want to.
For one, I didn't know that I wasn't supposed to be using. I don't bond. Me or my mother didn't know.
All right, well, it's right in you signed bond conditions, and it's right in there. So you better read what you signed.
I really didn't know,
Okay. You shouldn't be using it anyway, because
but I'm underage.
there's no benefit to it. Because it didn't work to relieve your stress, because you were still stressed.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Anything else you want to tell me?
I just want to say I'm sorry to the victim, to the family. I understand that my actions were serious, and if I could, I wish I could go back and do it all over. I would have done the right thing, and I'm trying to be the productive citizen that I know I can be. Since then, really, I've been doing good. I've been just going to work, got my own house with my girlfriend in Euclid. I got my own car. I just been going to work, really. And
You got a driver's license currently?
yes. Or no.
Why?
I went to take my I took my test and I passed. The new law. So I never went to go back to get my actual driver's license.
Why didn't you do that?
because, you know, I didn't have a car at the time, and my mom, she was just always working.
So what do you have to do to get a license?
I have to go to driving school, and I was going to go there when I got out.
Do you know what the when you were here, when you pled guilty, I told you what the potential penalty was. Do you remember what that is?
No, Your Honor.
Do you have a sense of what it is?
Like, what I could,
Well, you could get.
I think it was like 3 to 4 years.
It's 8 to 12 years. All right, have a seat, Mr. Knopf.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state's recommend that the defendant serve a prison term. Both the offenses, the attempted aggravated robbery and the felonious assault, both carry the presumption in favor of prison. Additionally, the defendant violated bond by testing positive for marijuana, and for what it's worth as well, because the defendant is under 21, he did also violate the law by using the marijuana. The defendant picked up an additional case, an additional diversion case out of Lyndhurst. I believe that this shows that he's not amenable to community control. Mr. Kaharski was correct in the things that he said the victim testified to at the preliminary hearing, but some other things that the victim also said was that the defendant pistol whipped him more than 5 times, that the defendant demanded his car keys, and that also that the victim had a concussion. So those were all things testified to at the preliminary hearing. So due to the nature of the violent offenses and due to the bond violations, the state would recommend a prison term.
What was this thing in Lyndhurst?
I was on my way to Amazon, and I had a job interview there. And, me and my girlfriend, my brother was in the car. We got pulled over, and really, I was just scared, Your Honor. You know, I just got out and I ran. You know,
Whose car was it?
It was my girlfriend's car.
Okay. What were you scared of?
I'm gonna just be honest. We was smoking in the car.
Ah. So you had reason to be scared. You were on your way to an interview, and you were smoking pot before you went to the interview?
Yes, Your Honor.
Bad decision. And then you compounded that bad decision with another bad decision. And that bad decision leads him to tell me that you're not a good person for probation because you got this thing going on and you're doing more stuff.
You just give me one chance.
I'm not even getting to that yet. I'm talking about decisions. Decisions. Okay? You're racking up bad decisions. So far we have 3 bad decisions. Okay? The pot, which leads to irrational behavior, which leads to this incident, which leads to the next incident in Lyndhurst. So at some point, unless you want to live the rest of your life like this, like the guy before you who went back to prison for the 4th time, you got to get your head straight. All right, have a seat. All right, I reviewed the pre-sentence report as well as the letters that were submitted in your support. And I have considered what you have said, what Mr. Kaharski has said, Mr. Knopf. And I have considered all the provisions, and Mr. Kaharski went through in detail which he thinks apply and don't apply in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. And I'm going to find that you've overcome the presumption of a imposition of a prison sentence. So I'm going to place you on community control for 5 years. You're going to serve 40 days in jail with credit for 32. You're to have no drugs or alcohol.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
I'm not done yet. That means no drugs or alcohol. And if you do, you'll get caught because you're going to get screened, and you got caught once, you'll get caught again. You're going to get, once you're out, a drug and alcohol evaluation. And I'll get the results of that evaluation. I'll get the report on it. And I'm going to presume you're going to be honest about it, because if I see that you're not being honest about it, then you'll be back in here and explain to me why you're not being honest about it, because that would be a bad decision not to be honest about it. And you're going to follow whatever recommendations are made. Now, it should be a breeze, because you just told me that you can stop and you don't need it, so it should be easy. But we'll see. You're going to complete the decision points program and follow all the recommendations. That's through the probation department. You're going to get a valid driver's license. You're going to obtain and maintain full employment. And if I were you, I'd get busy on this union thing with the welding stuff. The sooner the better, but that's up to you.
I will, Your Honor.
You're to have no contact with Noah, whatever his last name is, Noah Folzinski. Is that right, Mr. Kaharski?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're going to pay the costs and supervision fees associated with this case. Ms. Henley, any other terms you think are applicable?
Your Honor, would you like Mr. McLean to be placed on ISP supervision?
Yeah, I assumed he would be, right? I mean, if it's a... Yeah, I want him on...
Based on his aging criminal history.
Yeah, I want him on ISP. And we'll figure out right quick. Is that based on that goofy score?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay, so yeah, put him on there and we'll find out what's what pretty quick. Anything else besides that?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You understand the terms, Mr. McLean?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Any question about the terms?
No questions.
If you violate the terms, the state will file a motion to terminate your community control, and if I find you violated, then you face on count 1 potentially 36 months in prison, and on count 2 potentially 8 years up to 12 years, so a total of 11 years up to 15 years in prison. You understand that?
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
The remaining counts are dismissed. Anything else, Mr. Knopf?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Kaharski, anything further?
No, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
All right, we're adjourned.
All right.
So I think what stood out here was how much the judge put directly on the shoulders of the defendant. Community control isn't just a lighter sentence. For someone this young, 5 years of strict supervision can be a long test of choices, habits, and maturity. The judge gave him a path, but I don't think it's going to be an easy one. But I'd be real curious to know what you think. So why don't you take a moment and let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, Ellie and I would really appreciate it if you checked out one of the two that are on your screen right now. We thank you for watching.